And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Whew, hope you enjoyed that break. Hope you had plenty of time to massage your Marines, because we have returned with our next qualifying match. As we mentioned before, we're going to be following Spatz here on his road to the lower bracket into a qualifying match against another Protoss player. Oh boy, another best of 5. Predictions are open. Place your bets in the chat on how you think this series is going to unfold. Which Protoss player will come out on top? As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the German Protoss player representing Berserker Esports. He just had a rough time against young Yakov, but he's looking to fight back in this PvP. It is Spatz. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Red Protoss representing Team Platoon. It is not the Polish Protoss player that we did cast the other day. It is a very different art. Beautiful, but here we go. Our PvPs are now upon us. This is something that we tried to avoid for as long as we could, but the reality is that there are a lot of Protoss players in this qualifier. Majority Protoss in this bracket, and we could not avoid the PvPs forever. We had to succumb at some point. And I'm keeping my eye on these probes. For now, double gate openers. There is no ramp coming into the natural, so it is very, very difficult to get away with some greedy opener like a gate expand. So double gate openers all around from both Art and Spatz. Proxy pylon is thrown down, and this is looking primed for a proxy Stargate. We'll see if we commit and we go for something like a proxy Robo, but I feel like we're pretty far away here for a Robo, so I'm not entirely feeling that, but we'll see what direction Spatz takes us in. Cybercore is done, tech can be thrown down, and it is a Robo. Okay, one base all in. It's a one base all in at a Spatz. Again, this is quite a ways away, quite a ways for the Immortals to traverse, so very interested to see how we're able to pull this off. Meanwhile, Art scouts and he confirms. What does he confirm? Pylon's missing. First pylon is there. Second pylon should be here as well, but it isn't. It should already be done. As we can see, 2 pylons done here for Art. So Art is looking for the proxy. He knows that there is one, he just has to find it. And you can see him scouring the north and the southern portion of the map at the same time, throwing down his own safety Robo. Art reading this beautifully. He's aware that an all-in could be coming. He's assuming that an all-in is coming, and he reacts with a third gateway and a defensive Robo. Now, he hasn't seen the proxy, but he is respecting it a lot. So a good reaction here out of Art, but Spatz, he can still pull this off with good enough execution. The first Immortal is on the way. Third gateway back at home as well. No expansion, which is confirmed by this probe. As Art is moving out. Bold move here from Art. He's moving out with his Stalker army. He does have the Stalker advantage over his opponent. And he may force Spatz to turn back around to go back home. As here we go, we're going straight for the pylon. The pylon taking a lot of hits already. Oof. And this is huge. We're going to depower not just the gateways, but also Warp Gate. Warp Gate is denied. The Immortal does reveal itself. One Stalker goes down, so will the second. A big loss for Art, but a big delay on Warp Gate and, of course, the production of Spatz. Now, Art also knows, because he saw the Immortal, 100% it's an all-in. And he knows it's a Robo-based all-in. So he's getting ready. He's getting his own Immortals. He has the high ground. Second Immortal's on the way. Warp Gates are now up and running. Prism has arrived. We have a couple of sentries for force fields to try to slice up the army and cut it in half. Here we go. The army, though, meeting up. The wall is not a wall, and we could commit to the shade, and we do commit to the shade as well. 2 adepts do one-shot workers. 2 workers go down. Prism taking a couple of hits. As Spatz will take out this pylon. Oh, this will supply block Art for a moment. As 2 more adepts shade in towards that main base. They don't quite commit. This gateway is under threat. And Art is now knocked down to 2 gateways. The Eps once again threatening a shade towards that main base. Splitting up the army here of Art. And he can't push down. If he pushes down, he's going to get force fielded. So he's going to lose another gateway. Ay, ay, ay. As I say that, the Immortals are getting within range. Better angle of attack, better CranKy from Art. He holds on. He's getting his own sentry as well for set force fields. Oof. One Stalker goes down. Art, he chose not to make a Prism. He doesn't have the same micro potential as Spatz, and I feel like Spatz is getting too much ground. He takes down another gateway. He's pushing on forward. A good force field, but we can just juggle to safety. We save the Immortal, and we can go in for another wave. And again, I feel like Art just cannot keep up with this. He got a Stargate of all things. We don't have time for that. We don't. As the Adepts do commit to the Shade, we get a couple more workers. And Spatz, he can push up into the main. Yeah, takes down the pylon, takes down the shield battery, no overcharge. Now it comes out of the control, comes out to the micro, the boys are being pulled. So far this is looking close. I mean, Art is pushing this back, but he's losing every single worker. Once again, the juggling too good. One Immortal does go down, but we have plenty more where that came from. GG gets called, and Spatz will take game number 1. GG. Ooh. Art or Art though. Oh. GG, well played. Again, Spatz, he will take the game. Art, all capitals, of course. But yeah, initially Art, he was able to read the situation very accurately and respond to it, yes. I was concerned though, seeing the fact that he went for a Stargate instead of additional gateways, and he opted not to get a Warp Prism. The Warp Prism is actually really vital there in that situation, as we saw. Without the Warp Prism, force fields do just completely cut you up, and you have so much less micro potential without it as well. You cannot juggle, you cannot essentially blink defensively, and your opponent has such a big just advantage over you in this mirror matchup, in this all-in scenario. So Art was caught out, and Spatz able to out-control him in the end, just because of the tools that he had available. GG, well played. Spatz will take the first game, but this is a best of 5, so plenty more all-ins ahead of us. It's a PvP, baby. I expect some more cheese. Some more queso, baby. Some more queso. As we're getting into this and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Golden Aura, we have the German Protoss. Representing Berserker Esports, leading the series 1-0. It is Spatz. And spawning in the top left. In the top left-hand corner of Golden Aura, we have as opponent, we have the Red Protoss player representing Team Platoon down in this series, but it's a best of 5. Plenty of games, Poppy. Plenty of games. It is Art. Once again, no ramp. No ramp coming into the natural, which means double gate opener. We have the setup here on the high ground. 2 gateways are going to be thrown down. And we will be getting a read on whether or not we have another 1 base all in, whether or not we send a probe out to proxy a pylon. I do think it would be wise of Spatz to, even if he doesn't commit to a proxy, to throw down his second pylon out on the map, just to get in the head of Art, just to get in the mind of your opponent, rent-free. Mind games, probably mind games. The other thing that is interesting about this map, of course, is the rush distance by ground is very short, so you can be very aggressive with, you know, whatever you decide to go for. You can get across the map very quickly. There's a goal base as well, which I don't think is going to come into play, and Spatz, his probe does avoid the scout of Art, and this is a good position here for a proxy pylon. I mentioned before, I do think it would be a good idea to proxy the pylon and not commit, but it's Spatz, and he may as well just commit. We'll see. He does keep the probe here. Now, because this map is so small, because the rush distance is so short, not a bad position for a robo, but we could go for a Stargate instead. If it was a Stargate, it would be here on the right-hand side. Probe comes in. Art does confirm that the pylon is missing, and once again, 1 base all in out of Spatz. Robotics facility is thrown down Let's go. Now, there are different variations of all-ins here. We could throw down a third gateway, go for a War Prism, and just go for a very gateway. We can even throw down a fourth gateway and just go for a gateway-heavy composition, or Immortals and just go into the same game that we had previously. Probe goes in. Spatz confirms that both pylons are in the main base. You can see Art, he's looking for the proxy. He's trying to figure out where exactly it is. And so far, he has not come across it. He will, though. Or will he? Oh, the probe does deny the scouts. The robo has not been seen. Art going for a Stargate. Uh-oh. Now, with a Stargate opener, you can go for defensive Void Rays. Void Rays, they're okay defensive. They're not as good as Immortals, but they have their place. As Art is preparing back at home, he's still in the dark as to what is happening. Immortals are on the way. Third gateway as well. It's the same one base all in, 2 games in a row out of Spatz. And I do think that this time, Art is less prepared than previously. If you remember, previously we saw a robo, third gateway. We were able to keep up with the mortar production. That isn't going to be happening this time. Phoenix is on the way. Interesting choice. Phoenixes, they can help shut down and they can CC the Immortals. They can even shut down the War Prism as well. Speaking of, War Prism is on the way. So this can be a really good way to shut this down. It's risky though. Tis risky, is very micro and positional intensive. As Art has been warping in wave after wave of Stalkers and he's going to be chasing this down. He can even go straight for the Immortal and he gets it! The Immortal gets caught out and Spatz is going to get completely shut down. We recall back into the main and Spatz, he's in a lot of trouble. Losing an Immortal already. Spatz, he's transitioning. He knows that he cannot kill his opponent, not with this. And he's working towards a Twilight Council, maybe even Dark Templar. I wonder what direction we go in. No, there's a pylon in the main base. We warp in some adepts and Art, he's going to slip into the main. He's looking to cripple the economy here of Spatz. Oh, no. And here we go. The adepts do reveal themselves right into the main. They do attack a little bit prematurely, though. So they do alert Spatz. 2, 3 workers are going to be going down. 3 workers, not too bad here. Spatz, acceptable amount of losses. He shuts down the pylon. And there it is. Dark Shrine is on the way. So Spatz, his way back into this is to try to cripple the economy of his opponents. But we do have a Stargate, which grants access to Oracles. Robo is on the way for Observers as well. Spatz is on a timer. He's on a timer. He needs to make sure he breaks free from the supply block as well. We need pylons. As the robo is completely shut down. Art, of course, with the Stalker lead, moving out across the map. Proxy pylon as well, reinforcing. Now Art looking to break into the bases here of his opponents. Now defensive DTs could work as well. Is an option. Oh, the warp in is forced, and we cancel the Dark Shrine upon seeing the robo. Wise choice here. Art going for the gold as well, taking full advantage of Spatz. And the game is gonna settle from here as I say that. Oh god. Another probe goes down to those Phoenixes. Observer gets found out and gets tickled away. No, don't die to the tickle beam. As we'll avoid the sentry, thankfully. This observer will eventually be hunted down. Spatz is not aware at all of this gold base. And I would say that for the time being, the game is pretty... It's settled down here. Things are looking pretty even. The worker counts are pretty even. Blink is on the way. A lot of this is going to rest on whether or not Art can take advantage of this gold. If he can fully saturate this gold, he's going to get further ahead. But for now, things are pretty even. Okay, the armies, we both have an Immortal each. The Phoenixes do add a lot of micro ability here to the army of Art. They provide so much value here when it comes to shutting down War Prisms and shutting down the Immortal. Even getting economic damage done. They scout, they confirm the expansion. And Art immediately recalls and he saturates that gold. And Spatz still has no idea. He has no idea what is going on. He's in the dark and he's being left in the dust. He needs to figure out what the hell is going on. Oof. So now another probe goes down. Prism is slipping into the main base. Spatz still with very limited scouting information. He hasn't gone for a hallucination scout in quite some time. Speaking of, Art goes for his own scout. Adepts, they do shade in, but the army is revealed, and it's quite an army. Art even taking a third base at this point. Some of the pieces get caught out. Not a bad catch. Spatz, is he gonna check? Is there a reason for him to check this gold base? I don't think there is. Now, if he goes in and if he sees that this nexus is still not done, that is a tell. As the armies are missing each other. Oh, but Spatz, he comes across the immortals. Dark Shrine is on the way. Gonna be committing. And there's nothing at home here for Art, so Spatz, he can go in, he can bypass the natural, he can even recall back home after he deals the damage. Yeah, there we go, he's going straight for the main base. Boys are being caught as well. Force fields are thrown down. And Art does not have Blink. A good fight here for Spatz. As long as he can keep the force fields up here, there's no way for Art to engage. And this Nexus will fall. Now, this base wasn't too important. You know, we already have the gold. We're still in an even base count. But from here, Art, he recalls into his own main. And Art now can evacuate and get the hell out of here. Now, a great move here would be to... if only he knew. That's the thing. If only he knew about this gold. He's checking top right. He's going for his own ninja base. If only he... there we go. He checks. He scouts. Good force fields once again out of Spatz. Blink is done this time, though. A lot of stalkers do go down. But now Spatz, he's aware. He knows. He's coming in with a DT. No detection. One Dark Templar is going to be enough to shut down that economy. Up. Oh, no. Oh, the prism goes down. The immortal inside it as well. A big pick-off here for Art. But now Art is down to a one base economy. Half a base economy. Spatz, if he wanted to, he could expand, but for the time being, I feel like he should just focus. Okay. Takes a standard third base. He's not being too fancy, not being too crazy. Oof. Spatz does get caught out for a moment. Again, the gold is being shut down. Sentries pulling back. Up. Once again, Spatz taking a lot of hits. Like, Spatz, he just has to survive. Survive long enough to get another couple of warp ins in. He's got 4 more gates on the way. He needs them. He needs to make use of them. Good force fields. Slicing up that army. Gonna be keeping those immortals at bay, but that's a lot of immortals. 4 immortals here for Art. He has a massive army. But they're being zoned away. Even though the stalkers can blink over the wall, the immortals cannot. We just have to keep them tied up. Keep them chained. And we will. The immortals, they just want to fight, and they just haven't been able to this entire game. Once again, cut them up. Force fields are thrown down. Immortal goes down, and Spatz will take it. GG gets called. Spatz takes game number 2 after a failed one base all in. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. Spatz, there was so much working against him. I can't believe that he was able to pull that off, despite that goal base paying off so well for Art. Spatz able to go for a counterattack, able to able to make use of the mass sentry that he had, making it really awkward for Art to engage because it took him a little bit too long to get into his own blink. And yeah, Spatz able to make some magic happen. Very well done. Very well done. GG. Oh. And with that, Spatz, he is one game away from qualifying for the regionals of ESL Masters Winter Europe. Uno más, papi. Uno más. Ooh. And yeah, we'll see what kind of map we end up on. Where we end up going. As it's a best of 5, he just needs one more. Meanwhile, Art is up against the wall. He had such a good start as well. He had such a powerful start, and it's crazy. Crazy that Spatz was able to come back in that game. Here we go. We're getting into game number 2. Sorry, game number 3. It's going to be on Solaris. Oh boy. Now the question becomes, do we get a 1-base all-in again from Spatz, and do we go for a proxy robo? He's done it 2 games in a row. May as well, right? May as well. Aye. At this point, we have to, you know? We have to follow the trend, follow the narrative. Vámonos, papi. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Solaris, we have the German Protoss player representing Berserker Esports. 1 game away. Uno más is all he needs to make it into the main event. It is Spatz. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss player representing Team Platoon. He's up against the wall. He needs to fight back here and now to have a chance at forcing the ace match. It is Art. Whew. Now once again, no ramp. No ramp leading into the natural base, so 2 gate openers all around. And I said this in game 2, and I stand by this. I feel like here in game 3, Spatz should proxy the second pylon. This time I feel like he shouldn't commit to a 1-base all-in, but even if he doesn't, he should proxy it as a fake proxy pylon just to be in the head and in the mind of Art. But we'll see. See what he goes for. So far, 2 gate openers probe is being sent out across the map. And as much as I want it to be a fake proxy pylon, it could be a real one. Could be. Spatz, he can do whatever he wants at this point, papi. Whatever he wants. As we are hugging the edge of the map, and this is looking like a fake proxy pylon location. Yep, the pylon is thrown down, and the probe keeps on walking, keeps on moving. Ooh. Meanwhile, Art dips into the main, and he will notice that the pylon is missing. And after being proxied 2 games in a row, I don't blame him for even overreacting to this. Now, hopefully he doesn't. Hopefully he's able to keep a calm, and collected head, and, you know, respect the opener and try to get a read on what's going on and not make too many assumptions. But for now, he knows that the pylon is not here and it should be. As we know, fake proxy pylon. Or a pseudo proxy pylon. Oh. Behind this, Spatz going in for his own probe scout, confirming all 3 pylons are in the main, so there's nothing that Spatz has to be concerned about. He is safe and sound as to everything that is going on. Meanwhile, Art is scouting. He is checking everywhere he can, looking for the proxy robo. With those 2 probes, this is already a good amount of damage because we are forcing lost mining time out of one of these workers. Probe does get shut down. And both players are going for Twilight Council openers. Okay. So with this, it looks like Art, he hasn't taken the bait. He is playing straight up here against his opponent. And the Adepts, they're able to bypass those Stalkers. They slip on in, or they're looking to slip in. We do react in time, and the wall is thrown down. Whew. Thankfully, Art does hold. And that is a third gateway from both players. So we may not have proxies, but this is very committed. A very committed one-base play from both Spatz and Art. It looks like a proxy 4-gate. Looks like a 4-gate to blink all in out of Art, as he can throw down a 4th gateway here across the map. And Spatz is desperately trying to get a read on what's going on. He slips in! He gets into the main base. He will scout the 3rd gateway and the Twilight Council researching. He now is aware of the Blink Stalkers, and there is the 4th gateway. So it's a 4-gate blink all in out of Art. Spatz, he's getting a 4th gateway of his own back at home to defend. So we have the same builds, mirrored builds here from both of our players. No, but Spatz, he does come across the proxy. He will shut it down. Spatz will be on 4 gateways. Art will be on 3. Cancels the gateway. A big blow here for Art. Even supply blocks him for a moment. And without that proxy, Art, he cannot reinforce on the front lines. He will straight up have worse production. His Stalker count's going to take a blow. And Art, he throws down a Robo as a response. Now with this Robo, he can work towards a Warp Prism to get across the map and reinforce his army. Okay, this was a big win for Spatz, but it's not over yet. As Art is forcing his way up the ramp, trying to, but the ramp, oh god, the choke point is just too good. The defender's advantage. Spatz does hold. And he just has to keep warping in Stalkers. On top of that, he needs to get a read on what's happening. Now, the last thing Spatz wants is to be caught off guard and have his opponent expand and not be aware of it. There is a proxy pylon out here that we can make use of. We could throw down a Dark Shrine, but there is a Robo and an Observer on the way, so... Alright, he's aware of the potential for DTs, and he's going to be ready for it. Stalker has arrived. Sorry, Stalkers have arrived. They delay the expansion. More importantly, they see that Art wanted to expand. Spatz from here, getting his own Robo. I'm sure he's aware of the threat of DTs. Of Dark Templar. Stalkers will be trading. Spatz does have a slight Stalker lead. But not a single Stalker has died yet. Oh! Very impressive. Looking at both players' army, no one has lost a single unit. Not yet when it comes to the Stalkers. Very good control. There's the expansion from Art. And we should be seeing one from Spatz as well. We'll see. Does he throw down an expansion, or does he double down and throw down like more gateways? Or a ninja base? Where are we going? What is the plan? Observers coming in, and this is an important scout from Art. He's going to confirm the lack of expansion. He's going to confirm that back at home, yep, we need shield batteries, immortals as well with this Robo. We need it to take this seriously. As the Observer did get shut down. Have a proxy pylon. We have a good defender setup here for Art. And Spatz is all in. He's Spatz, he refuses to expand, Papi, despite being heavily oversaturated in the main. He refuses to expand. There it is, another warping across the map. Looking at the units tab here, Spatz will take a Stalker lead just slightly, but pushing into shield battery overcharge, like that's not going to be easy. We need to expand, Papi. We're working on it. I just don't think we can break this, I'll be honest. Observer does take some hits, and the Observer is not going to go down. Whew. Oh my god. The Stalker does fall. We do turn back around here to face this head on. Look at the unit tab here. The Stalker counts are very close. Does feel like Art has a bit of a better setup though. Pushing on in. A Sentry helping as well. But barely not enough. As Spatz, he is breaking on through. He comes in with some reinforcements. And it looks like Spatz may just barely snowball out of control. Oh! Good blinks, but there's the overcharge. There's that shield battery. Spatz has to respect it. He's not expanding. He is still all in. Spatz, he's up to 21 Stalkers against the 17 of his opponents. But even that slight advantage may not be enough. And it's all about the blinks. It's all about the control. We cannot slip up. Oh, alright, losing too many Stalkers. No, 4 Stalkers, 5 went down. The blinks were not there. A bit of a slip up from Art. He loses far too much, and this is snowballing out of control. Again, he did mess up in that Blink Stalker micro one too many times. And Spatz is doing it. He's snowballing out of control. He's breaking the natural base. We praised Spatz's control earlier in the PvZs. Immortal does come in though. Despite how good your blink control is, the Immortal is still superior. And it has to be respected. Oof, as we just dive on in, the Immortal does go down. And again, Spatz, he still has the Stalker lead. He is breaking through. Reinforcers come in as well. And I can't believe it, but it is going to be a 3-0. No 2-base saturation. No 3 bases, I should say. As Spatz has done it. He's broken through, takes down the natural. GG gets called, and Spatz will qualify for ESL Masters Winter Europe. GG. GG, well played. And the blink control was close. It was neck and neck for a long time. But then we saw there was that one fight towards the end where the blinks weren't there. Art, he slipped up in his control. He was maybe looking elsewhere, maybe starting Immortal production. But in that moment, 4 Stalkers went down. It was 4, like back to back to back consecutively before we saw any blinks. And then when we saw the blink, it was just the entire army blinking back. So for one moment, Art just wasn't able to keep up with the blink control, and that was it. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to Spatz for making it through. GG, well played. And now we need to quickly figure out what's going on. We need to find another series to follow, because there are still plenty of matches that are ongoing.